They'll probably say, where exactly are you going with this? I see you really trying to take it there. Old school flow, chew you out, ain't fair. Jordan pants don't...
Yo, what up, YouTube? It's your boy Zai. You already know what time it is. Happy Saturday to those who, enjoy their Saturdays. But anyways, you can tell by the title exactly where I'm going to go with it. Now, I know there's people that, they like to get on here and they're still talking about, the direction the channel used to go in as far as, like, borderline negativity. It was mostly pointing out things that I just didn't respect as somebody that lived that particular lifestyle as far as the whole gangster lifestyle. And though I didn't really partake in it anymore in the way that most people do at a young age, I still saw things a certain way and still to this day see things a certain way. There's certain rules that I figure should always be honored because that's what's been ingrained in us. But I'm not going to go into that. The new direction of the channel is not necessarily putting myself in a particular box as far as like the direction of the channel, like whether it's drama, dealing with other people and giving my opinions on it, whether it be like a reaction or maybe, there's going to be other videos that are music, and then there's other videos that may be on the borderline of conspiracy and just outright evidence of, misdoings. And then other times it's just sitting here talking to the audience about things that I want to talk about. And the whole reason I'm doing this video is because jealousy, the weak man's disease. And the reason I say it's a weak man's disease, because if you're one of those people that are jealous, you're weak, especially if it comes down to, how a person makes his money or how far he's progressed after, being in a certain rut as far as like what he may have did in the past, and he just made something of himself. For people to be jealous at that is a weakness, because any man that sees another man not only striving to be something greater but doing better things in life should applaud that, especially if you've been in the situation or similar situation to that individual as far as like being incarcerated or maybe just down on your luck, maybe homeless, maybe drug addiction, and you bounce back and got yourself to a point in life to where you're actually comfortable, but yet you're still trying to gain that much more. But if it didn't get there, you're comfortable with that. Now, I say the whole weakness thing is because, like I said, any individual that sees another person doing something good in life and hates on that fact has to be weak. It's a character flaw. It's something within their self that makes them that way. They feel some type of way about people doing good. Like they say, misery loves company, and the people that are hating are miserable. It's like I said, it's something within herself. It has to be, because like when there's times where excuse my allergies always, especially in the shed, but it's like, I see people that do the same thing as me as far as like the whole YouTube thing. And sometimes they're what they talk about sounds exactly what I said, and at first I was at that point, not at that point, but I was thinking like, damn, these dudes are following the exact same script as me, like it's kind of like carbon copy. But then I thought about it, I'm like, you know what, man? At the end of the day, when you're not a hater, you're gonna give it to these people. You may not outright go and be like, hey, because at the end of the day, it is your script, but as far as like congratulating them for actually making something out of that script, you could do nothing but applaud it, because when you come to think about it, a lot of these cats, if they didn't try to accomplish the same thing or even greater, they most likely would either be in jail or dealing with circumstances in their life that might drive them to maybe become drug addicts or go back to being drug addicts, and and do nothing positive for their life. A lot of people have found YouTube, which people are like, I would never do YouTube, and that's fine. But you have a lot of people that have found YouTube, and they may not make a lot of money off of it. Some are not making no money, but it's a form of stress relief. It's a form of being able to get things off your chest and be open to the public about certain things that you go through in your life. Like, I get on here and I talk about certain things that I find relevant. Like I'll talk about things that I don't necessarily agree with, but it's just from my perspective. Now, I say all that to say this: when people get on YouTube and they find a way to vent and express yourself without being on the street, possibly harming people or want to be emulating other people, so they go out and they rob and they steal, they kill, they end up in prison for long stints at a time, or even if it's just buzzard, you know what I mean, like a pigeon time or whatever, they still do that because they have no real focus, you know, they have no real way to vent. You know, some people, they find it as therapy to be able to get on YouTube and talk about certain things. It's a way of, you know, self-healing, self-care. And if you talk to them, you find some people that really have good things to say. Like there's one guy I read, something Jaguar. When I listen to like certain things that were said on his channel, it's like, okay, boom, you know, it's like, it's good to see people doing good. And like I said, I say all that to say this: for the people that, you know, that you see guys on the internet and you immediately want to tear them down, you're weak. It's a weakness within you, because you should want to see people prosper. And I see this all the time, whether it's in music. Like a lot of cats try to tear me down. It don't work. I just constantly keep putting out, you know what I mean? It's like people want to talk mess about music, said it was too negative. This world is negative, and a lot of it's gonna burn in it. But you know, it's there's two things that happen when you're born. You're born, and then you age to a point to where you die. Who knows when you're gonna die? But you're born to live, and you live to die. That's all it is. And it comes down to what you do within that 24 hours in your day. Even if you want to break it down in seconds, whatever you do in that day is what you do. If you see an individual on the internet doing good, and he might possibly be something, you know, or make it to a certain plateau, you can do nothing but applaud that. When you hate it, you show your true character. It's like, what does it hurt you to see people win? Like, I see people with the whole crabs in a barrel thing, and it's true. And this is not just, people like to put it basically on the black community, but you see it now, even in Hispanic, like music, the raps and all that. People be hating on each other so much because one style is better than the next. But what you understand is, like, within music, there's always people that's gonna want to hear your point of view on how you come with it. I'm not the best rapper, and people know that, but you know, I still get negative feedback, and I get positive feedback because people actually like, hey, you're getting better. I got so many raps, like I got stuff that I've wrote way back, but it's not relevant in this time now. So it's like I wouldn't even dare bring it out. But there's people better than me, and I applaud them. The only time I and really not have anything bad to say about them, but anytime I really turn a stink eye on them is when they're trying to tear my music down, when there is just garbage. You know what I mean? There's some people that they just can't rap for nothing, but they still try, and that's the point. A lot of times, if people didn't try to do music or have some sort of outlet, they go right back to prison. Because it's like, and then some people are doing good and get caught up in the madness and end up back in prison anyway, because they fail to distinguish and fail to differentiate the difference between being on the street and want to gangbang and just doing music. If you've did it in the past and you talk about it in a way to where it's not really exposing anything, I you know, I get on my thing, I get disrespectful. People disrespect me all the time. It's music though. Like, yeah, you know, there's always somebody that's gonna feel some type of way about it, especially if you're dissing them, period. But I don't really worry about it. I'm not here to worry about it. Like, if that was the case, I would have never picked up the sword. I would have never game. I would have never went to prison. I would have never did half the stupid that I did. You know what I mean? And it wasn't to press nobody. I mean, but it's like I wouldn't have did half of that if I was worried about it. Now, all I want to say is like this, man. People are gonna hate on you, and I see a lot of people. Like, I talked to a homie, I think in Kansas. A lot of people are going to hate on you. Some people are not going to feel your vibe, but you got to push past it. Just continue to do you. And I'm telling you, some way, shape, or another, somebody's going to jump on your bandwagon. And not even in a bad way, but they're going to want to be the first ones to be like, hey, you know what? I was vibing with that guy when he was nothing. When, you know what I mean? And say it in a positive way to like, look where he was and where he's at now. A lot of people tell me that. They're like, man, you were so negative in the beginning, and then you start switching more towards positivity. Outside of the music, music is music. Music sets the tone of the year. A lot of times we go through certain things in our life to where music is our only expression. And music to me is an expression. It's a way, it's an outlet, it's a way to vent without going nuts. You know what I mean? But you're always going to have those, that's going to celebrate you. And them are the ones that you should cherish. Don't worry about the guys that are jealous or the ones that feel like you're talking about them. Because there's a lot of cats, I see them. They'll feel like I'm talking about them on IG, and I don't. It's just their insecurity causes them to want to say certain things because it's always been there. That's what you got to also get, is the fact that the ones that start hating on you were really haters in the beginning. They celebrated you in the beginning when they thought you were at a level to where you can either help them or you were in your place. And then when you stepped outside of that, people felt you more as competition. Like, instead of wanting to see you shine, their thing is to tear you down now, because anybody that used to, for the people, they have these fans that used to celebrate them. But then they notice that a lot of the fans that follow them now follow you and like, hey, this dude's shit is hot, and people get mad at that. They're like, they want the focus to be on them. But what you got to understand is it always shifts. Jay-Z had his time at one time. Kanye had his time, but he has a solid fan base. So regardless, whatever he dropped, they're gonna flock to it. Drake is probably one of the hardest artists, the hottest artists out whenever he drop. But he has a certain group that's gonna follow him regardless. It's gonna be millions. That's what you got to establish. And some people they fail to realize that, like, you're gonna have fans that are gonna fall on and fall off because they're not necessarily feeling you. You're gonna always want to focus on the ones that are solid. Do something to entertain the ones that have been following you since day one, and leave the other ones alone. The whimsical ones, the ones that just felt like, I'm here and I'm there. It's the same, man. Like, that's why, like, in this industry, there's no friends, there's no nothing. It's business. You can still be good with it, with anybody, but when it comes down to, like, the music, it's business. So if people want to collab with you and you don't deal with them like that, it's business. Pay for it. If you don't want to pay for it, go right by them. Because a lot of times people are just waiting for you to be hot. There's no real, like it was before, where people see you and was like, hey, you know what? This guy has flow. Like, I just want to get on because his lyrics and his bars are tight. Now it's like, oh, can he go viral? If they don't feel like you're going viral, they don't want to deal with you, no matter how hard your lyrics is. And some people think about it like this: what will you be remembered by? Will you be remembered by your bars, or you be remembered by whose fucking penis you rolled? You know what I mean? And that's how it is nowadays. But I kind of strayed from it, but I kind of wanted to give people a broad idea of why I say the things I say. Like, jealousy is a weak man's curse, and as long as you deal with individuals, or as long as you're that individual that feel jealous because another person is prospering, you will always be weak. Get out there and get your own. If you feel like somebody's entrepreneurship or music or whatever is greater than yours, then you focus on making yours strong. So you're either at the same level as him or somewhere climbing towards that. That's how I do. I see cats that are up there, and I'm trying to get to that point and may never make it there. But that's why they say shoot for heaven and you'll fall somewhere among the stars. I mean, there's other ways of saying it, and that's real. It's like, I want my podcast to boom. No Jumper is booming. I don't want to be No Jumper. Similar, I say, a similar kind of to them, but like Joe Rogan, people may not never reach that, but you aim for that, and you may fall somewhere close to it, and you got to be happy with that. The whole thing is to get, prosper to the point to where other people can benefit. You know what I mean? As far as like kids and their kids and their kids and their kids and and family. You know what I mean? To where you bringing people on board. It's that generational wealth. That's all you got to understand. If you're being hated on, so what? It's all good. If you're one of those dudes that are haters, then you're just a weakling. It's one thing: constructive criticism, destructive criticism. Constructive criticism being something that's going to help you, and you make valid points. Destructive criticism is people do that, say it just to destroy you, to make you discouraged so you don't pursue what you want to pursue. Don't listen to them. Anybody that has real negativity towards you, or they start off with the gay, you sound stupid like that, you gotta get rid of them. they're there to bring you down. It's like the saboteurs. With that being said, man, jealousy is a weak man's disease, and that's all I'm gonna say. I got other videos coming up. Yeah, they may not be exactly what you want to hear, but there's things I want to talk about. With that being said, I'm your boy Zod. Enjoy the rest of your day. And don't forget it's T Naruto Uzumaki. Sasuke's cool, but it's Uzumaki. And talking about weebs. Ha! See you on the next anime, and I'm out.
Kneel before Zod!